We're welcoming Mr. Jack Ciattarelli to the event. All right. That was worth the price of admission. Give it up one more time, please. All right, we're going to be starting the program tonight as we are a faith-based community, one of the largest Islamic centers in all of New Jersey. We start all of our events with the Word of God. So for those of you that are not Muslim, for your edification, as you consider the Old Testament and the New Testament in the Bible, we consider the Holy Quran as the final testament. And with that, I'd like to call Qari Zahid to recite a few verses from the stage. And I'd also like to ask Imam Abdullah Smith, he is the leader of our Islamic Center here at MCMC, to also come to the stage and join Jack Ciattarelli on stage, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا لست منهم في شيء إنما أمرهم من الله ثم ينبئهم بما كانوا يفعلون من جاء بالحسنة فله عشر أمثالها ومن جاء فلا يجزى إلا مثلها وهم لا يظلمون قل إنني هداني ربي إلى صراط مستقيم دينا قيما ملة إبراهيم حنيفا وما كان من المشركين قل إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا أول المسلمين صدق الله العظيم
Takbir, takbir, takbir. Next, I'd like to invite Imam Abdullah Smith. Is Imam Abdullah here? He just stepped out? Okay. Some of the verses that Qadi Zahid just recited, where our religions actually overlap. He's talking about Abraham making a prayer, saying, "Qul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen." Say that my prayers and my sacrifices, my life and my death are for God, the Lord of the worlds. And so this is the ethos of a believing Muslim, is to live their life in this way, and every action, every word, every thought, every waking moment is driven by this sort of principle. We want to set the stage a little bit tonight as far as what is the intention and the motivation behind this event. I think historically, generally, we can say that the Muslim community has, for the longest time, backed Democrats, the Democratic Party. And so today we have several Republicans that are here, and the intent and the motivation is to give a platform and a stage to have open dialogue. I think one of the first, for the first time in history, we're at an inflection point as Muslim Americans writing our own stories in the United States as far as where do we stand, which party do we stand with. And one of the biggest issues that came up was the curriculum that was being enforced on the public school level. And in that situation, we found ourselves siding with Republicans, saying that, no, we believe in family values and the traditional family model and so on and so forth. So much so that for the first time you saw Muslims on Fox News, right? And we're like, wait, what's going on here? And we were at the forefront at these protests and things like that, asking, why does this need to be indoctrinated into my kids at a public school level? This should be conversations that people are having at their dinner table. This shouldn't be getting stuffed down the throat of my child in kindergarten, for example. And many other issues that have come up since then, right? Economic empowerment and so on and so forth. So what I'd like to encourage you to do tonight is ask the difficult questions. This will be a very unique opportunity to ask those questions. Don't be shy. No question is a silly question, right? And I'd like Dr. Ibrar, first and foremost, thank you for being brave and courageous to put on an event like this. This could be seen as something that's very controversial. Yet, your flyer said it perfectly. It's to have an open dialogue and give a platform to both parties to hear them out and see how can we work together for a better New Jersey, better Piscataway Township, and better United States of America. So I'd like you to further, talk about what this program is, what it means to you, and why are we here today.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm a tall guy, unless you want me to stand, I can. So I welcome all my honorable guests who came here to support my friend Jack, who's running for governor. It's no secret. Like Brother Shumail said, it was a bold step for me to take. I knew the town where I live, full of Democrats. I know my community. But when you believe in something, you have to say something, right? If I believe that Republicans are closer to us, to our values, I would be a hypocrite if I don't say it openly just because my Democrat friends will get offended, or I'm gonna get a pushback from township, I'm gonna get so-called violations on my house, I'm gonna get pushback from community, the people who are very comfortable with the Democratic Party. But what I believe is that if I know for a fact that this party and this particular candidate shares the same values as we do, then it becomes my responsibility to come to you guys and provide this opportunity so that you can get to know more about him, and together we all can support him and take him to the crossing line and see him in the office. And then once he is there with our support, we share same values. We wouldn't have to deal with the issues that one of the fundamental issues is that they're teaching our kids in the kindergarten and the first grade about LGBTQ. No, we don't want them to teach this to our kids. And I would like to ask this question to my Muslim community. Do you want this to be taught to your kids in kindergarten or in the first grade? Do you want that? No. You don't want that. But you know for a fact that the party that we have been supporting, what they want. They have been going far left, up till where? We have to stand up and stop them. They are not the one to teach this to our kids. This is the conversation we can have with our kids if we feel like having it. They are the one, they do not share values with us. It is the Republican Party. And among them, Jack is the best candidate. He is from Somerville. He did not grow up so far away from here. He is from the middle class. He did business in the state of New Jersey. He knows the challenges New Jersey business owner is facing. He has successful companies. He is a CPA. So he understands the taxes that we are paying. The ridiculous amount of taxes that we are paying. Are we paying the cost just because we are living in the state of New Jersey? Why do we have to pay a ridiculous amount of taxes? Why? So there has to be somebody in the office who understands that enough is enough. He is the guy who is going to bring change, who is going to implement what we want. And I assure you one thing, Jack. This is the community that is sitting here. We are not hypocrite people. We are very brave. If we shake hands with you, if we call you our friend, we are not hypocrite, brother. We are not afraid to die for you. This community will give their head for you if you do what they want you to do. And you believe in what we believe in. We are brave for you. I'm taking this initiative. My community supported me. I can tell you a number of people who came to me in the mosque. He said, brother, this is the bold step that you have taken, and we are with you. That means a lot. My community is supporting, and I can't thank you enough for this overwhelming response. I was telling my wife that I had 120 chairs here today. And around 2 o'clock, I was telling her, I'm nervous whether I'm going to be able to fill 120 chairs. It's the first time, you know. For the religious events, alhamdulillah, you guys know, we have always had an issue with overcrowded population and the gatherings. But this is the first time we're hosting a political gathering. So I was telling her that I'm a little nervous. And he said, no, you don't have to be nervous. Just do the right thing. You have called your friends. They know how genuine you are, how legit you are. And you do what you believe in. Don't worry. This community, your friends, your family is not going to disappoint you. And coming to the point, I thank you all. You have won my heart today. All of you have shown up, house full, no seat is empty, 3, 4 are empty, but I see 5 people standing there. So thank you so much. A round of applause for having this house full for Jack. I know many speakers have to speak. I would like to conclude. I want to especially thank my partners. All of them are here. My friends who are here. My accountant is here. I see my attorneys who work with me. Anthony Mahajan is there. I see Jeff there. Mark is there. Brother Kareem Abdul Hadi is a good friend. So everybody's here. Brother Rafiq. And these are the people from my community. I call them my family. And today, people from MCMC, you have always honored me, and today you have won my heart. So from today onwards, I owe you. Yes, thank you so much for coming. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. All right. Next we have Salahuddin Maksud, who is representing the Council of American Islamic Relations, CARE. They do a lot of advocacy work, a lot of things that have been going on with the Palestine and Israel conflict, war. Salahuddin's been on the forefront on television and so on and so forth, fighting the good fight. So welcome, Brother Salahuddin.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. All praise is due to Allah Azza wa Jal, and we ask that He send His peace and His blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad and upon all of those that follow in his footsteps, and his companions and his family, and upon this beautiful gathering here today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace and blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal be upon all of you and our special guests. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to our host, Mother Ibrar. My name is Salahuddin Maksud, and I serve as Executive Director of the Council on American Islamic Relations New Jersey Chapter, America's largest and oldest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization. I must begin by clarifying a couple of things. CARE, of course, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So today my presence here is not an endorsement of any candidate, except I'm here today to speak a little bit about what the Muslim community believes, its concerns, its wishes, its hopes, and what we're looking for from the candidate who pursues higher office here in our state. Of course, we're looking to learn from you as well. Now, I will not facilitate a Q&A. Inshallah, we'll have a Q&A afterwards. But I would like to speak a little bit about what are on the minds of these people here today. So, there have been many gatherings where Muslims come together to meet elected officials. Whether it is Board of Education, City Council, a mayor's race, Assembly or Senate or Congress, Muslims throughout New Jersey have met with elected officials to either learn about their campaign, to support their campaign, etc. Today is no different. Today we are here to learn about Jack Ciattarelli's campaign for governor. What makes his campaign stand out, and why should we support it? Okay, so inshallah we'll learn from him, learn from his team, and learn about why we as Muslims may be interested in pursuing his campaign, maybe even financially investing in his campaign, and of course, even giving our vote to his campaign. Now, as Americans, we have something unique. Now, as Muslims in this country, we have something unique that maybe Muslims across the world do not have. Let us remind ourselves that we live in a democracy. And this democracy, it affords us unique privileges and unique civil rights and unique civil liberties. You see, Muslims across the world, they might be facing many difficulties and challenges. And they do not have the resources and the privileges that we have here today. we are positioned in a unique space to make an impact globally. Because the Muslims in maybe Kashmir, or the Muslims in Palestine, or the Muslims in Yemen or in Sudan, they don't have access to power and influence and the democracy and the resources that we do. So AllahSWT has positioned us in a unique space as citizens of a country that arguably is the strongest in the world today. Am I right? Whether we are speaking politically, economically, socially, culturally, militaristically speaking, as of right now, America is arguably the strongest country in the world. And here are we, as citizens of that country, living in the garden state. The best state, right? The best state. Alhamdulillah. And so we have this unique opportunity to make a difference. Our democracy affords us many channels, whether it is the voting process, or contributing to a campaign, or it is becoming an activist or an advocate and rallying people up for a good cause. Ultimately, we all live here, and inshallah, this is the place where we will die. And these are the homes that we live in and the masajid that we go to. Our schools are here, our children will be grown up here. So we want to make sure Piscataway and New Jersey is benefiting from our presence, right? As Muslims, we should bring up the society that we live in. Our existence in these neighborhoods, by default, if we practice our faith, should uplift these communities for the better. And elected officials in all offices should be enthusiastic to see that American Muslims are getting involved, because they know that our faith teaches justice, teaches us to be upright, teaches us to be honest, teaches us to contribute and give back to those who are in need. These are the teachings of the faith of Islam, the teachings of the Holy Quran, and the teachings of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Prophet, the final Prophet of God. Now, it is our obligation to give back. And of course, when election season comes, we have to be involved, because we know that politicians and their decisions will impact our lives. Now, earlier, the question of family values was brought to our attention. We all know the family unit is a sacred unity in Islam and in the Abrahamic tradition. The union of a man and a woman in order to create a progeny and teach them the values of this religion, this is essential teachings of Islam. And to protect this and guard this is our responsibility as Muslims. And to work with elected officials to make sure that our schools are serving their initial purpose, to teach our children about the basics so they can grow and to pursue careers. Leave family issues for the home. Leave family matters for the home and for the masjid to teach, not for the K through 12 public schools. We want to make sure our politicians also protect our private institutions. Here with MCMC, we also have an Islamic school. We want our Islamic schools to be protected. We want our private institutions to be protected so they can flourish and teach the next generation and create strong Americans and strong Muslims to contribute and give back to society. Now, of course, there are domestic issues that we care deeply about, but of course, at the forefront of many of our minds is the foreign crisis that is happening overseas. And the list is long. And of course, top of our mind is the issue of Palestine. Palestine is not at top of mind, but also within our hearts. And of course, we have the question of Kashmir and the occupation of Kashmir by the far right-wing government of India. And of course, we have the question of the persecution of the Muslim minority in India at the hands of the far right-wing government of Narendra Modi. This is an issue that we all care deeply about. And the list goes on. We can speak about Sudan, we can speak about Yemen, and we can speak about the turmoil in Syria and Iraq. These are our homes, whether it is Pakistan or Turkey or Egypt or so on. These are where these people have come from. And they have chosen New Jersey as their home. And so what we are hoping, and I'll end with this, to impart to you, sir, is that you take into consideration their concerns. Palestine, of course, has been at top of mind for all of us. Post October 7th, this community in particular has given so much to the Palestinian cause, supporting them financially with humanitarian relief and aid, and even through advocacy work. Many of these individuals and community institutions have contributed to the work of organizations like CARE, my organization, and others, in order that we help advocate for our civil rights and our freedoms, so that we can be openly critical of the Israeli government without fear of retaliation, because this is our First Amendment right, is it not? Absolutely. And we want to guard our First Amendment right so that we can openly speak the truth without fear, because this is what our Constitution has granted us as citizens. So I will end with this. I want to thank you for being here, and I ask you, and I ask everyone, to keep an open mind, because what we are doing here is we are establishing a channel of communication. So whoever takes office, we have an opportunity to communicate with them once they're in that seat. So we hope you'll answer our calls if you are the one who is chosen to be sitting in Trenton. We hope that you answer Dr. Ibrar's calls. I'm sure you will always answer his calls. They have his, okay. Then maybe we should exchange numbers as well. And of course, others, I encourage you to introduce yourselves to him. Shake his hand. Ask him about what motivates him to run. It is no small thing to run for office, let alone to run for the governor of a state. So, ask about what motivates him. What drives his campaign? What are his foundational principles? What are his top 3 or 4 or 5 priorities? And then he will in return maybe ask you about what motivates you to be here tonight. Why did you take time out of your Saturday night? I know I drove 1 hour to get here. What made you come here today? And learn from him, and he'll learn from us, inshallah. And this is an opportunity that we can better each other. And of course, the ultimate goal is to improve the condition of the societies that we live in, to improve the condition of Piscataway, of these neighborhoods and these towns, and of course the entire state of New Jersey, and of course to uplift our communities and be of benefit to them. So with that, I ask all of us to keep an open mind, learn from each other. We ask you to learn from us, of course. Again, our priorities are clear. We are not shy about them. In fact, we mention it firmly with confidence in hopes that you take it seriously and go back to your team and others and think and learn about our community. So I ask AllahSWT, God Almighty, that He use all of us for good, that He use us to benefit our society, that He use us to sow righteousness into the soil so that we can grow and benefit the world around us. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Saladin, for those beautiful words. Brothers and sisters, because of the interest of time, we have the Isha prayer that is going to be upon us. Saladin has set the stage perfectly now for Mr. Jack Ciattarelli. There's a lot of questions that we have. We want to know your motivations, your intentions, why you're running. And so the floor is all yours.
So before he could speak, my friend Kaiser, he want to gift him the shawl, our traditional Punjabi shawl. So Harry, please go ahead and give him the shawl, please. He has this special gift for you.
Punjabi shawl.
Go ahead. No, it was on top.
Okay, Salam Alaikum. It's great to be with you tonight. Anita Katare and I are humbled, honored, and so very thankful to be in your presence. and you give up time here on a Saturday evening to gather. I heard it said during the opening comments that this is somewhat controversial. It should not be. When people of goodwill, who are well-intentioned, want to get together to open up the lines of communication, that should never be controversial, and nor will it ever be when I'm governor. Let me also say that the presence of the Muslim community here in Piscataway makes Piscataway better. It makes Middlesex County better. It makes New Jersey better. There are nearly 400,000 Muslim Americans here in New Jersey, second only to New York in terms of Muslim American population. And of the 3,000 counties across the United States, Passaic County in North Jersey has the largest Muslim American community. We are the most diverse state in the country. And I believe that there's power and beauty in that diversity if we embrace it. If we embrace it. But we embrace it not only with our arms, but with open minds. And so when people ask me, what is your job as governor? My first job is always to listen. To listen. You cannot be possibly an expert in all things. And so you must listen so you can then learn and then act accordingly. What is my motivation for running for governor? The Ciattarellis came to New Jersey 100 years ago from Valentano, Italy. They came here in search of one thing, opportunity. And then it's up to the individual to take advantage of that opportunity. There's a 4-letter word you won't find anywhere in the Declaration of Independence or the U.S. Constitution. That 4-letter word is easy. The American way of life was never supposed to be easy. But what it meant, the promise of America, is that if you worked hard and took advantage of the opportunity that America presented, you could achieve your goals. You could achieve your dreams. I am so anxious to spend more and more time in the Muslim American community because I know that many of you, like my grandparents, who came to a democracy, were Democrats. You come to a democracy, you're Democrats. But when my grandfather finally worked his way up out of the ditch as a laborer for the water company, owned his own company in the 1920s and 30s and 40s, he felt that the Democratic Party exploited people by giving away too many things and making life a little too easy and not emphasizing the virtue of hard work. And so since the 1940s, the Ciattarellis were Republicans. They were also Republicans because they believed in economic freedom that comes with hard work. They were Republicans because they believed in family values and law and order. And so those are some of the big issues that we see today. But again, why am I running for governor? Because we have been here for 100 years. Every single one of the Ciattarellis has been self-employed, owning our own businesses. My parents owned a restaurant bar. My sister's in the title search business. My brother's in the auto recycling business. I was in the publishing business. Many of you are business owners. That is one of the key elements of the American dream. And what I fear most is that too many New Jerseyans feel that this state is no longer the place where they can achieve their American dream. My job as governor is to make all people feel confident New Jersey is where they can achieve their American dream. And so I'm committing myself as someone who has achieved, like many of you, success in the business world. I mean this with the utmost humility. I don't need the job. And I do not want to go to Washington, D.C. I don't want to be congressman. I don't want to be senator. I don't want to be president. What I want to do is restore people's faith in New Jersey and their faith in each other. And in that sense, I truly believe that leadership makes a difference. And so I'm very excited about the notion of being your governor. And I'm very, very honored and privileged to be in your company tonight to talk about the issues that matter most. What are those issues? Number one, taxes. In New Jersey, individuals face the highest tax burden of any citizen in any state in this country. Between your sales taxes, your income taxes, your business taxes, your property taxes, New Jerseyans face the highest tax burden in the entire country. Businesses. New Jersey is known as the worst place in the country to do business because of taxes and regulations. My first priority is to lessen that tax burden. My second priority is to restore law and order in our community. We are seeing lawlessness in our community. We're seeing intolerance. We're seeing hate. Okay? It all starts with the right kind of law enforcement professionals. As your governor, what I do on day one is I nominate an attorney general who will ensure that there is safe communities and law and order in those communities, and that there's tolerance and no form of hate in any and all forms will not be tolerated. We need to get back to having safe communities. Number 3, public education. You've heard it mentioned numerous times by all 3 of the previous speakers here tonight. Our public education system has gone wrong. There are things that are being taught in our public education system that are the responsibility of parents, not the responsibility of the school district. I think what we really need to do in our public schools is get back to teaching critical life skills and not speaking about things like gender identity, sexual orientation, family structure, or explicit sex acts at the youngest of ages. This is immoral, it's indecent, and it's wrong. And it infringes upon the responsibility of parents. We will not have that when I'm governor. On day one as governor, I will call for the resignation of all those that sit on the State Board of Education that have made all these changes to the public school system. And as we said, we cannot be afraid to talk about these issues, so long as we talk about them in respectful terms. And that is my leadership style. But what's wrong is wrong, and let's call it out for being wrong. Let me say this about the Muslim American community. One reason why I believe that you should give Republicans a close look, you're conservative. You're conservative. Many of you own your own business. You don't like the taxes and regulations in the state that make doing business so very, very, very hard. You're pro-family. And what's being taught in schools is not pro-family because it doesn't respect the role of parents. You're law-abiding citizens. You are law-abiding citizens. And yet, we do not have the observance, in my opinion, of the rule of law. We have a philosophy right now by many Democrats that shows more sympathy for the criminal than the victim. We have things like bail reform, where we allow people to go free after being arrested, and they're being arrested a second and a third time within a 6 or 9 or 12-month period. How demoralizing is that to our law enforcement community that they have to arrest the same person 2 or 3 or 4 times for the same crime? My idea for criminal justice reform: if you're arrested for having broken the law and you're a first-time nonviolent offender, we will give you 3 choices. You can go to jail, you can go to the military, or you can go to vocational training school and learn a trade. It's your choice. That to me is criminal justice reform, not letting you go free. There's no justice in that for the victim. And so this is really what my candidacy is all about. And I do hope over the next 14 months we can forge an even closer relationship and maintain an open dialogue. I will say, as governor, I will establish an interfaith council comprised of the leaders of all the various faiths all throughout New Jersey that will sit with the governor over breakfast at the governor's mansion each month to talk about the issues in the community and how we work in partnership to make our communities better, like Piscataway, like Middlesex County, and of course when we do that, all of New Jersey improves. I'm excited about that notion of working with the leaders of all the various faiths. You do not see that today. You don't see an open and respectful dialogue today. We need that very, very much. My leadership style is one of collaboration. I don't have all the answers, but when sitting down with people, as we are tonight, or as I would with religious leaders, I will become an even better and better governor, knowing what it is that's going on in the community, knowing what it is that's most important to individual communities like yours. But with regard to what your chief concerns are, I do believe we are perfectly in sync. There's nothing I've heard tonight that is inconsistent with my philosophy or my approach to governance or what it is that we need to do to make New Jersey better. So with that, I believe we're going to get to question and answer, and you should ask any and all questions. But before we do, I want to extend, on behalf of Anita and myself, the most sincere and heartfelt thanks to Ibrar and his wife Amna for doing what they did tonight and bringing us all together. Let's show our appreciation one more time. I love his story. He's achieving his American dream right here in New Jersey. Right here in New Jersey. And again, my job is to get everyone to feel confident that they can do that right here. With that, questions? How do we proceed?
Okay, so 8:30 is the prayer time, so it's about 18 minutes from now. What we can have is, we have a wireless mic. Anybody that has a question, I can bring the mic to you. Please raise your hand and ask your question.
And if the question is a very hard one, I'm going to give it to Anita, if that's okay.
We have one from Brother Khalid Zayed over here to the right. You can come on up, Brother Khalid.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening, how are you? Thank you so much for being here tonight. And I'd like to thank Dr. Ibrar for inviting us here. My name is Khalid Zaid, I'm Palestinian American. And the one issue that I really want to bring to you and I want to talk to you about is the issue of Palestine, the genocide that's going on in Gaza right now. My family is from the West Bank, which has been under military occupation since 1967. United States provides tremendous amount of military support to Israel. And Israel continues to use that money that we taxpayers give to this federal government to take care of our roads, to take care of our highways, to take care of our bridges. Instead of doing that, much of that money is going to Israel in the form of cash or money or weapons to continue occupying my people. There is this genocide going on in Gaza right now since October of 2023. The official number of deaths in Gaza is about 41,000 people. 2/3 of them are women and children. The Lancet medical report published a report about saying that the total amount of people are going to be killed as a result of Israel's military action in Gaza is going to reach 200,000, which is about 10% the population of Gaza. Gaza is just one small part of occupied Palestine. So I know I agree with you on the family value that you talked about. Most of us here do. We don't want the government to start teaching our kids things in schools that we don't agree with. But the one thing that bothered me as an American citizen, and many of us, I speak on behalf of a lot of the people here, that American support for Israel. As a governor, of course, you're not going to be able to stop military aid to Israel, but there's one thing that I wanted to bring to your attention. There is something called New Jersey Israel Commission. And if you go to Google NJ New Jersey Israel Commission, you will find that over $1.7 billion trade value between New Jersey and Israel. And as a governor, I would like to ask you to consider looking into this because we as New Jerseyans and Americans don't want our money to be invested in Israel. We don't want our money to be given to Israel to continue massacring the Palestinian people and killing them and putting them under military occupation. One of my nephews was killed a few months ago in the West Bank, and there's the increasing number of violence against the Palestinians in the West Bank is increasing tremendously. Israeli settlers come in from Brooklyn, from Queens, from France, from Russia, from Ukraine, from everywhere. They come into our lands, they take it by force, and they kick us out, and then they build Israeli settlements, and they harass us every single day. We don't want this NJ Commission to exist, basically. In my opinion, you should be looking into it. So my request to you, and again, I agree with what you said about family value. We all agree, we Muslim Americans, we want to vote Republicans. But we feel disheartened that Republicans and Democrats alike always rush to support Israel. And then there's an Israel lobby called AIPAC, trying to influence politicians to support Israel. So my request to you is to look into this, NJ Israel Commission. That's my request to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So you've educated me. I did not know that there was a New Jersey Israeli Commission, and I certainly will look into it. I think one of the great attributes of any great power, particularly military power, is one of restraint. One of restraint. And we know how many people have now perished because the conflict is taking place. I do believe in a two-state solution. That to me is the only way really to protect the Palestinians going forward and achieve what it is that we should all want, which is peace. But I will look into the New Jersey Commission, Israeli Commission. I did not know it exists, and that's the benefit, once again, of getting together. You learn. Obviously, you've done some homework in this area. You've done your research, and you know what it is that you're talking about. And I'm very sorry to hear about your nephew. Very, very sorry.
Okay, please, next question. Yes, certainly. I'll bring the mic to him.
Should I come? Hi, Jack. Oh, this is too much. I am a long-term community member here, and by profession I'm a psychiatrist. I thank you so much for coming here and giving us the opportunity, and Brother Ibrar, to arrange this function. My question is very simple, quick question. You are a Republican candidate for governorship, and Donald Trump is a Republican candidate for US President. And I believe there is a significant chance that he will become the US President. So my question is, how do you differ from Trump, and how do you resemble with Trump? Thank you.
My hair color is real. I think we are similar in terms of economic policies. He wants to make America a better place to do business. I certainly want to make New Jersey a better place to do business. I think we're similar with regard to having a more secure border. I don't think that Mexico has been a good friend or ally if people are walking right through their country from Central America to get to our southern border. I think we should be working in closer partnership with Mexico to address the border issue along our southern border. I think too we are similar in terms of our position on international relations such as NATO, the North American Treaty Organization, where America always fulfills its obligation to pay its annual dues, but other countries do not. So I think we're very similar in that respect. I think we're very, very different in terms of our rhetoric. The manner in which he goes about communicating is very different from the manner in which I will go about communicating. I believe my job is not just to govern New Jersey, but to unite New Jersey as best I can. There are 9.3 million citizens here, and I guess all 9.3 million are not all going to get along perfectly at the same time, but my job is to bring them together as best I can. I'm all about bringing people together. And to that point, yes, I've owned my own businesses. I've employed people. I've created jobs here in New Jersey. 2 times over, a very successful business person. And I say that with the utmost humility. But I have served at every level of government. Twice at the municipal level, Raritan Borough and Somerset County. Twice at the county level, Somerset County. And 3 2-year terms in the state legislature. And in all 7 of those races, I won election in a town, a county, and a legislative district where Democrats significantly outnumbered Republicans. I think I won because I'm not a hyper-partisan. I am not a hyper-partisan. I'm also not rigid in my ideology. And that gets back to my number 1 responsibility, to listen. It takes humility to listen. Any politician who stands before you and pretends to have all the answers is lying. Now, I'm an MBA CPA from Seton Hall University. I could talk to you all night long about the tax code because I practiced it and I lived it when I owned my business. And I know exactly what we need to do to the tax code to make New Jersey a better place to do business, particularly for small employers, small business, and entrepreneurs. Okay? But so many of these other issues, I just got an education on a New Jersey Israeli commission that I need to look into. And so, how do I differ from Donald Trump? I'm not going to say what he's not. I'm going to say what I am. And what I am is somebody who's willing to sit down and listen and consider all points of view. I do realize as governor, you get to a certain point in the conversation where I have to make the final decision. But that final decision will never be made without considering all points of view first.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to do one more question, and then we're going to have some of the local township officials come up. Sir, you did have your hand up earlier, so we give this to you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good evening. My name is Uzair Umarzai. I live in Metuchen and work in Woodbridge Township with MCNJ, Muslim Community of New Jersey. Thank you very much, Jazakumullah khair, for organizing it. I came to USA about more than 35 years ago and loved it so much because of the opportunities and independence that I decided to stay here. This is not the America that I fell in love with and I decided to stay. The last 4 years of the previous administration at the federal level changed it entirely. The Muslim bans and there were a number of things. So my question to you is, as a New Jersey governor, what are the specific things, and it's not just me, there are a lot of people in the Muslim community who think the same way. So what are the things that you can specifically do to restore their confidence in the USA and in the American dream? So be as specific as you can be. Thank you.
I appreciate your question. So first, let me share. I did not support the Muslim ban. That was, in my opinion, it was wrong. And so the first thing we need to do, I think the very first specific answer I'll give you to the question is, and we've heard this already tonight, this man was not afraid. And so he gathered us tonight. I'm not afraid because I don't need the job. I want the job on your behalf, but I don't need the job. I've already had the best titles in the world: son, brother, father. So, this is not about ego for me. This is about fixing the state that I love. So number one, we need to speak out when we believe something is wrong. The Muslim ban, in my opinion, was wrong. Second of all, and I think this is, in the era of social media, this is something that can be very, very powerful. As governor, because the research is pretty clear, not necessarily in your community, but in many other communities today, fewer and fewer people are attending worship. As governor, I will attend at least 2 different houses of worship every single month. Whether it is a mosque, whether it's the Catholic faith, the Protestant faith, whatever the faith might be, I will attend worship twice a month at different houses of worship. And through the power of social media, show that to the people of New Jersey. Because in my opinion, that's a very big step in the direction we need to go to bring us all back together again. If the governor of this state, the number one public official, is seen going into a mosque and sharing worship with Muslim Americans, I think that's a very powerful image. I told you already about restoring the Interfaith Council, where we get the leaders of the various religious faiths together at least once a month with the governor over breakfast, talk about the issues that are going on in the community, and how we all have a responsibility to work together to make New Jersey a better place. So those are 3 very specific answers to your question of what can be done, I believe. I have always been successful in business because we brought people together. If you looked at my employee roster, my employee census, we had Muslims, we had Christians, we had Jewish, we had white, we had black, we were brown, and we worked together to achieve goals on behalf of our clients. This is really no different. I cannot be a successful governor unless I have the support of all the various communities all throughout New Jersey. No community should be left behind. And the reason why I was able to win election 7 times in that town, that county, that legislative district is because I spent time in the minority communities. I did not spend my time at the white country clubs, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. It's no different than being in business. I used to say to my salespeople, you go spend time with the existing clients. I'm going to spend time with prospective clients because that's how we grow the business. That's how we grow the business. Sadly today, you don't see that amongst our leaders, which is why this country is so divided. So divided. When someone asked me recently, if you won, what would you do the day after the election? I said, I will go to the community that was the least supportive of my candidacy and say to them, I respect the right that you did not vote for me, but I am now your governor, and I would like to work in partnership with you. Where can we work together? Where can we work together?
Thank you, Jack. With that, we're going to continue the conversation with Jack Ciattarelli right after Isha prayer. Prior to heading over to the mosque, I'd like to welcome to the stage Debra Hopkins, Patricia Bodovinvac, and William Lawrence to the stage. Please address the crowd. We have about 3 minutes before prayer starts. And I have their marketing collateral here, and it says that they're running on the core values of a transparent council meetings, up-to-date council meeting minutes, no bullying, respect, no more warehouses, promoting and protecting open space, ecological park development, and reducing wasteful spending and reducing property taxes. So especially if you're a Piscataway Township resident, this is an important message for all of you.